A few weeks ago, I reviewed a little tiny on-camera light called the LitraTorch. This little thing has revolutionized the way that I shoot in the field. It's a great little light, and if you want to learn more about it, watch the video that I made reviewing this thing in detail, and I'll link to it in this video. Since that review went live, Litra has released a different light called the LitraPro, and in this video, I'd like to take some time and review this bad boy. So let's hop to it. So the very first thing that you're going to notice about this light is the build quality. It's very solid. It's a very heavy duty light. You know, it's made out of a metal or steel construction. It feels like if it falls off your camera, nothing's going to happen to it, which is really good because this light isn't cheap. It's $220 on their website, US. So, you know, the price point isn't cheap, but it's not crazy expensive either. Back to the durability of this light, it's just got a very well constructed frame, and it's really important. So when you're putting on-camera lights on cameras, you're typically working with a hot shoe mount. Those things are finicky. You know, if the weather's cold, your hands could not be functioning properly and the thing could slip off your camera. And if that happens, you want your light to be durable. In the past, I've had lights that weren't as durable. They've slipped off the camera, and that was money wasted because they just smash on the ground, and that's the end of the story. So I'm extremely pleased with the construction of this light. It just feels quality to me. When you cruise around this light, the next thing you'll most likely notice is that the LED bulbs on the front are different colors. This is because this is a bicolored light, and you can actually change the color temperature. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. On top you have some buttons. These adjust brightness, color temperature, as well as turn the light on and off. And as with the LitraTorch, you have two standard 1/4-20 tripod mounts. It's really awesome to have two mounts instead of one because you can daisy chain two lights together. You know, if you use the hot shoe on your camera with this one, you can attach a microphone to this one, and thus your shooting setup could be much more compact and easy to use. All right, let's talk about some specs. The LitraPro has a max output of 1200 lumens or 675 lux. It's a very bright light when it's set to high. It has an adjustable color temperature from 3000 to 6000 Kelvin. And this basically means that you can make the light cooler or warmer depending on what your setting is like. So it's a really nice feature to have it adjustable because you can now more easily shoot indoors with it or outdoors or match any other light setup and make it look more authentic, make people's skin tones pop better. So this is a very, very helpful feature of the light. Additionally, you can also adjust the brightness of the light. So you can go from 0 to 100 in increments of 5. This is another great feature because some days you're gonna need more light, some days you're gonna need less, and to have the ability to increase or decrease light accordingly is a very handy feature. The LEDs on the front are full spectrum. They have no green spike, they're flicker free, and they don't produce any hot spots. So in other words, the LitraPro is the best on-camera light in its class. Like its smaller brother, this light is also waterproof, whereas the LitraTorch is waterproof to about 10 meters. This can go substantially deeper to 30 meters or 90 feet. So that means you can literally go scuba diving with this light if you want, and you can illuminate all the different types of fish that you see down there, whales, whatever you want. Out of the box, you get the actual LitraPro light. You also get a soft diffuser, which I am a huge fan of. This diffuser can pop on and off the light very easily. This puppy helps to produce a very nice even light that's perfect for people's faces. So if you're doing interviews, you pop this diffuser on, it's gonna look just buttery and delicious. In addition to that, you get a nice little carry pouch. You also get a hot shoe mount. You have a GoPro mount, so this can screw into the light on the bottom. And now you can mount it to a GoPro if you like. And last but not least, you get a charger because this thing has a massive battery inside that you can charge up with this guy. Just like last time with the LitraTorch, I conducted my own light tests because sometimes when companies give you a spec sheet saying, you know, this light lasts X amount with the battery, it's not always accurate. And so I put this light through some rigorous testing. I basically tested 3 settings, low, medium, and high, and I tested each one of those settings 6 times. I discovered that this light at maximum output at high, which is 1200 lumens, lasts for 53 minutes. The company says that on that setting it should only last 45 minutes, so I've actually found that in my test, this lasts longer than the specs that they offer on the website, which is awesome. Litra, way to go. On medium at 50%, this light runs for about an hour and a half plus consistently. And then on low at 5%, you get over 9 hours and 20 minutes, which is insane. You know, almost 10 hours at low output. Now 5% may not sound like a lot, but it's actually quite bright. You can definitely light some faces with this, and 9 hours and 20 minutes means you can film for an entire day without ever running out of juice. This light is extremely bright, and so one of the reasons I haven't been turning it on thus far is because I'm looking straight into it. When you look straight at the LEDs, it's blinding, and I don't want to damage my eyes. Additionally, I discovered that when the light is going full blast, when it's at 100%, it does get a little warm, but it doesn't get hot enough to burn you or melt anything, which is a really nice feature. So you can safely mount it on your camera, run it at full blast, and you'll notice that it does get warm, but not enough to do any harm to you or your gear. The LitraPro also has another cool feature, and that feature is that it has wireless connectability. You can connect this light to your smartphone via Bluetooth, and that ostensibly turns your cell phone into a remote control. This allows you to tweak things like brightness settings and color temperatures without actually touching the light in any way. So if you're like me and you often film alone without an assistant, it's really nice to have the feature of being able to set your light up on a stand, walk away from that stand, and then when you're standing behind a camera, you can be on your phone making tweaks without having to run back and forth to the light. I've already briefly mentioned this, but I'll mention it again. This light is bicolored, so you can actually go down to 3000 Kelvin, which makes it a really nice warm, kind of cozy feeling. And you can also take it up to 6000, which is kind of more of a blue light, more like daylight, and you can do anything in between. The LitraPro also has a heap of cool accessories, like this softbox. And so if the included diffusion doesn't cut it for you, you can purchase an additional softbox that mounts directly to the light. Boom, it just snaps in. And now you have an extremely powerful on-camera light with best-in-class diffusion. Additionally, Litra makes some barn doors for the light. So similar to the softbox, these things mount straight on. And now you have the ability to customize where your beam is shining. In addition to the barn doors, you also have some different colored gels. You know, you could put them in the same frame, and now you can have like a more blue light. You have yellow. You have another type of diffusion. You have a red light. So now you can turn this into whatever kind of cucaloris you want, thus giving you more options as a filmmaker. My only real beef with the setup is not really a beef at all. Basically, I just don't like the hot shoe that it ships with. So out of the box, you get this tiny little goofy hot shoe mount. And while it does allow you to put your light on a camera, it's just a very awkward, clunky kind of thing. For one thing, the threads don't match up perfectly, and so you have to kind of adjust this little wheel to secure the light to the hot shoe mount, and then you have to attach it to your camera, and then this thing is always kind of rolling around. So for something that costs 220 bucks, call me crazy, but I prefer not to put it on a finicky hot shoe mount because I want to protect my investment. So the workaround is basically a more beefy hot shoe mount. This is not one that Litra sells, but they do have their own version of this. And this basically is a ball head. It gives you slightly more options. So you put the light on that, you put that on your camera, and problem solved. Now you're making bread. What else can I tell you about this light? Oh, here you go. There's a tiny little lever here, and when you push it, it releases a door on a spring, and that's where you charge the light. It also has a very beefy seal, which is what makes this light waterproof to 30 meters. And for comparison's sake, here you go. That's what both lights look like side to side. That again is the LitraTorch. This is the LitraPro. They're both relatively small lights. They're extremely manageable, great for on-camera use. I would say that if you're a hobbyist and you just film like family events, that kind of thing, the LitraTorch is more than sufficient. It's a great on-camera light. If you're an amateur photographer, videographer, or a professional one, I think you should definitely add one of these into your arsenal. In my last video, I called the LitraTorch a game changer. I'm going to call the LitraPro a complete revelation in on-camera lights. The bottom line is this is a very great light at a good price. And in the past, I've spent a lot more money on lights that couldn't do even a quarter of what this thing can do. So that makes it really easy for me to recommend this to others. If you'd like to learn more about this light, I'm going to put a link in the description of the video below. I hope you found this review to be helpful, and I hope I was able to teach you some stuff before you went out and spent money on a new filmmaking tool.